Hello, everybody. This is Lucas. This is Lucasgvariety, and we are back with the Call of Cthulhu 7th edition game. We named it Cthulhu-Goo, but we are playing the Amidst the Ancient Trees, which is a quest found right at the end of the core book, the 7th edition. And we are episode 2 tonight. This is based 1925 in southwest Vermont, based off a small town in Bennington, or named Bennington. So we have basically what happened here from our last episode was that there was this big wig, this kind of rich socialite that became head of the water board. He has a 16-year-old daughter who was kidnapped by gangsters. They tried to ransom her off for some money. Something went bad when it came to the cops, and there was a shootout that happened, and they took off with the money and the girl. So the sheriff formed a posse to go spread out through the woods and find the girl and possibly the gangsters and the money, but especially bring the girl back. Her name is Jane Strong, daughter of Lucas Strong. And the group we're focusing on is these three awesome players right here. And it's Bernard, Dyer, and Thomas as their character names. I'm gonna do the recap after this, but I want you guys, if you could just recap who you are, like what kind of character you are, and like your reason that you got pulled into this or the reason you came into it. Let's start with Bernard. He's looking ready.
Hello. I'm
kind of, maybe, I don't know.
my character's name is Bernard Mowbray. He is somewhat connected to Lucas as a sort of distant family member through marriage. Was traveling through New England and was coming to visit Lucas when the tragedy befell him. Mm-hmm. And he kind of felt obligated and a bit excited to go and figure out what's going on and see if we can help.
Great, thank you. Let's go over to Dyer and his connection to all of this.
So Dyer is basically a hardcore woodsman and hunter. He doesn't like people, so he lives out in the forest. If anyone's familiar with the Cthulhu setup, since each class has like the type of affiliations they like to have, I like to pull Dyer's affiliation from the Mortician, which is very few affiliations. So he doesn't really like people. So the reason why he got involved is because if people are going to be going into the forest to search for people, he's most likely going to have to deal with them in one way or another. So he just figure he'll do it himself to get it over with and done with, so people will stay out of the forest. He's loaded in terms of weaponry. He doesn't have a lot of money, but he's got a lot of weapons. So despite the fact that as of now he can't track for crap, hopefully when he fights he'll do a lot better.
Well, that'll change up a little bit. Did a little reconfiguration and got some stuff all straightened out. So bad rolls still happen. The D100 system can be cruel sometimes. It does happen, but I think this is going to be a little more evened out. So thank you. And let's jump over to Thomas. Last intro, then we'll get back to the recap and get started.
I'm here.
Yes.
As a favor. I'm from here, though I don't live here.
Yep.
And I'm here as a favor to a guy I used to know, though, because obviously I'm from here, that I am interested in what's going on around here. And I have some direct interest in this because I think it might be related to some things that might have happened a while ago.
So you grew up and knew the Sheriff Jenkins, who formed the posse for Lucas Strong, right?
Right.
All right. And what is your position in life, and you don't have to tell us about the tragedy that befell you, but what happened to you physically, and then who did you become as a career?
So I was caught in a strange explosion as a young person, and it burned most of my body.
Okay.
And later I became an FBI agent, or in this case, I believe it's still the Bureau of Investigation.
A bureau agent. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
They haven't put the federal attachment to that as of yet, right?
Right. That doesn't happen until like
Okay.
until like the 32nd year, I think.
Of the century. Okay. We're relying on Dustin here to throw out some straightened up facts when we go astray.
The 30s, yes.
Okay. Good. And we're, like I said, we're in 1925. We're in Bennington. I did put a map there where we can kind of like look and see where roughly we are, and I can push that on the map there. And I have a transitional screen that we can use for the audience. Want someone to look and see? Okay, thanks. Anyway, so to recap briefly what happened last time. After the posse was formed and everybody was deputized by the sheriff, he took mostly all men, maybe a few women, but they geared up at the local gun store. Were allowed to do it for free. Everybody's being paid $25 a day, plus a $5,000 reward for the return of Jane Strong. And the posse took off and started going through the forest. They started out at the crime scene where they found blood and bullet casings, and this group got on a track for a blood trail for possibly, they think one of the criminals was shot. They have no idea how many gangsters there were. It was at night when the gunfire started. One of the policemen said that he swore he hit somebody, and they found a blood trail, so they've been following it. 2 policemen were actually murdered in this. So, I mean, the sheriff's hot to get these guys. Luke Strong wants his daughter back, and these guys are all connected in roughly one way or another. Found themselves together with a bureau agent, a very rich man who's a hunter and very educated from overseas, and then also Dyer, our awesome woodsman. And so they led their way in. Dyer had a few spells where he got dazed off, but we'll learn more about why that is later on, I think. They were tracking for most of the day, and if I can find the module, they went through the forest. And right before we ended, they came across a man and his son, Brian and Arthur Hall, respectively. And they had been gone out on a father-son hunting trip with another father and son. Well, the other father and son they went further into the woods, and they had not seen them in a couple days. So after talking to these 2 guys, they told them about the dangers in the woods and said, hey, Brian and Arthur, you guys should head back to town. And it's safe. And they're like, okay, we'll do that. By the way, our buddy and his kid's still out here. Keep a lookout for him. He's a Texan. He's a Texan, so you'll know him by his big old white 10-gallon hat. So keep an eye out for him. And also, we met a group of artists from the Boston College, or University of Boston. So if you see them out there painting, they'll probably welcome you in. And that was, I think, pretty much everything, right? Is there anything I missed in that brief recovery or recap?
No. They had been having some odd dreams.
Oh yes, tell us more about that, Kurt.
We talked about. Honestly, I don't remember entirely. Something about.
You did. I remember you did some good persuasion. So you pushed him a little bit, and both son and father are reluctant to say more. But Alistair says, "Wait, Alistair."
I don't remember what the dreams are about. They were weird.
Oh, I'm sorry. Brian and Arthur Hall are the people that went further in. It's Alistair and his son George that you met. Sorry, I just swapped the names around. But basically, the father said he kept dreaming that he was drowning, suffocating under black, murky water.
Like oil. Almost.
Yeah, it was almost like oil. And, yep, he said the artists were back from the University of Boston, and they were also from over Boston area themselves, these hunters. And that's where we left off. They are currently just walking away. You guys were heading mostly mostly northeast, and you're probably about mid-afternoon. It's like 3 or 4 p.m. The sun completely goes down around 7 or so, but since you're in a dark canopied woods, it'll actually start getting darker around 5:30 to 6. So when it starts getting dim in the forest, it's probably a good time to make camp, unless you plan on traveling in the evening during the night with flashlights and torches. However, you do need your rest because it does become quite tiring to pick your way through the tall brush and the hills and the trees all day. But anyways, So there you guys stand. You got your dog Spike with you, your black lab, and also you have the manservant or the valet for Bernard. His name, the valet's name is Meadows. So I guess the 5 of you, if you count the dog, are there. And there we go. Alfred Meadows. Alfred Meadows. It's Roy. He's the British servant with a terrible British accent. And there we go. What do you guys do?
A place we can set up for the night?
Probably got a couple hours, but yes. Not a bad question.
Strokes the beard like, well, it's the forest. We can camp wherever we want.
Well, I'm sure you know some places that are better than others. We're also searching for dangerous people, maybe someplace a little bit out of the way.
Well, why don't we keep traveling, and then once it's closer to time that we should actually set up camp, let's revisit this. But for the time being, let's follow this trail that we've been on.
Okay.
All right. So you guys will continue. You have to kind of retrace your steps because you got distracted from meeting this guy. So go ahead and make tracking rolls again if you want to refine the trail. We're going to put this to the test right now. Boom. We're already stepping up from last week.
It's a Cthulhu miracle.
Woo! Merry Cthulhu, everybody! Yay!
You roll the green one or the red one or the gray one?
The green one is for your standard rolls. The gray one's when we have to add penalty dice or bonus dice. Well, I'm glad that Tracker stepped it up because Bernard, who was hot on the trail, for whatever reason, hasn't been able to find the drops of blood again. But Dyer picks up on it. And it's a rough, slow haul. You'll head east for a while. You head north.
I have a request to the gamekeeper.
Yes.
You can call me Duke Mulberry, actually, or Suffolk, if we're on friendly enough terms.
Just the Duke? Me?
No, Duke Mulberry. Thank you.
Duke
Please,
Mulberry.
Show a little respect. Thank you.
You said you wanted to go by Bernard last week. What has changed? What has changed? Fine, Duke Mulberry.
I believe in formality. This is the 20s after all.
Sure. We'll just bring that right into the
we
meta rule.
would not call each other by Christian names, sir.
So the meta lore master is going to address the in-game character. Okay, I mean this is Cthulhu. I guess we can do this. Let's rock. Let me take off this jacket here. I'm getting real now. All right. Fine, Duke Mowbray. God.
Better.
We'll just wait. Just wait, Lucas. The madness. Okay, so you get back on the trail. Dyer, you find it. You guys are able to travel and follow it. Sometimes you come back to the logging road, which basically runs straight east from where you guys started, from the crime scene. Sometimes it crosses back over. Sometimes it goes back north of the path. This blood trail goes north. It goes east, but it's always heading roughly northeast. And then you find it's right about 5:30. And you suddenly like realizing, yeah, it's starting to get a little dark now. Just a little, and like I said, the sun's not setting completely for about another 2 hours. But you guys put some work into the hiking, cutting through the brush, straining your eyes to see the blood, keeping the dog in hand. Well, the dog's pretty good, well trained, as Thomas has said. And so yeah, you find it's about 5:30, and you can definitely see like the twilight is happening in the deep wood here amidst the ancient trees. What do you do now? Continue on, make camp, anything else? That's you guys. That's your cue.
So, about that place to set up for the night.
He looks around. He's like, "You're gonna want to find a place that's even in the forest. We don't want to be. We want to make sure that we're surrounded by a lot of trees, a lot of brush. We need to keep ourselves very well hidden. Don't want to be out in the open. Nobody likes being out in the open. And even in the forest, you can be out in the open without being out in the open."
Meadows.
Dyer looks around and like, I have an idea of where we're at. I think if we go about half a mile east, we can find a place that probably going to be safe for us. Hopefully, will be safe for us.
Okay.
I don't know if you want me to make a roll or anything like
That's
that.
fine. Are you going to note or mark a tree or cloth a tree or something where the blood trail is left off? Because that's kind of where you're at before you move to another campsite. Or expect to find it in the morning. I mean, you...
Yeah, we'll have whoever's. Yeah, Dyer looks to the two of them is like, any of you fellas pick up anything that we can mark so we know where to go when we wake up tomorrow?
You can also score a tree with like a knife or something if you want.
Yeah, that's
just not, or pile rocks up or whatever. But yeah, sorry to interrupt. I'm out.
No? Okay. He takes out his machete. And we'll just have him mark it. He marks like a straight horizontal line.
Okay.
And then he'll also do one kind of at a slight angle. Just so it's a unique marker as opposed to, seeing another tree that got damaged.
Okay, so
has been marked before.
So it's on a tree. Okay. All right. Yeah. If you want, you said you think there's an area to the east a little bit. Yeah. I mean, you can if you want to make a roll, and I'm pretty sure you can find it. But if you want to make a roll, you can throw a navigate down. Just we'll see how well this is going to work, right? Because
do you want me to make a roll, or are you saying do I want to make a roll? I don't want to roll.
Okay. I do.
Okay, well, roll.
I do kind of want it, but I'll give you a choice between making a luck roll or a navigate roll. Whatever you feel is better. We'll just see.
My luck and navigate roll are pretty much...
Since you know the woods so well in this area, I'm just looking for you not to crit fail. Even if it's a regular fail, that should be fine. You'll get in the area. Oh,
okay, no. I got it.
Almost a hard success. So you're like, so you lead them. You mark a tree. You guys lead them straight east. You go past. You don't quite go past the logging road. You're probably just a little bit north. And what is this little area that you're thinking of? I mean, now keep in mind, if you're going to make a fire, you can't be in such a secluded area that the fire would damage the trees or set stuff on fire, unless you're keeping a small fire or digging a hole and keeping a fire in the ground, obviously, right? If it's really controlled. So I guess I just want to know what this little spot you're thinking of looks like. It doesn't have to be anything special. I mean, you're in the woods. You could be like, it's a clearing. Okay. I mean, there's a fallen log there.
I mean, I don't know how descriptive I can get with the forest.
I know.
There's trees everywhere.
Yep, it's a good start.
I mean, it's an area where the trees are a little bit more dense, but it's not like jungle where you're having to cut your way through.
Okay.
Let's say it's actually a place that Dyer has camped at before. So
yeah.
There's a very tiny opening, but it's once it gets dark, you're not going to be able to see past like the trees.
So is there like an old campfire pit that you've had there before? Probably. Something.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And so you're saying even if you have like a small fire going, the thicket is so thick that it keeps you very well hidden from passerbys.
More or less.
Okay.
I mean, you can still see through it, but it's more kind of condensed than the traditional forestry.
Sure. Okay. So you guys find this nice spot. It's a real nice spot. There's room for everybody. Even room for, like, it's not so much room for a huge tent in here, unless you put it on the outside of this little cove or this little clearing, but you can definitely set up sleeping bags easy enough, or rig like a tarp over a branch or something. But what I want to know is, I'm assuming you guys are going to make dinner, which is everybody's going to use a ration, one per person, so that's total of 4 for the 4 people. And Thomas, hopefully you're ready to feed your dog. So that might cost you an extra ration. I'm not sure how you're doing that, unless you just send them off to hunt or you have something for them. But I'm curious to know is it's going to be, by the time you're done making camp, I'm going to say it's probably about 6:37. I want to know how you're going to do sleeping arrangements. If you're going to do like a watch, how much sleep you plan on getting, like what time you plan on going to bed, what time you plan on waking up and getting going. You know, you're going to eat dinner first, right? So make a little cook fire, make some coffee maybe, have a smoke, whatever you do. Drink some moonshine if you have any, if no one cares. But I know there is a bureau agent in the party. Who knows? I guess I just want to know your sleeping arrangements. If you're doing a watch, who's on watch for second, third, how that's going to work. And fourth, because you do have Meadows here as well. So you guys go ahead and discuss. Let me know what you're going to do. Or talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right back.
Unless you got is your dog like a super dog that wakes up at a moment's notice?
I mean, no, he's a normal dog. He's pretty well trained, but not like he's not Lassie or anything. Or Old Yeller. Or Benji. Or any of the other named animals that have graced the TV and movie screens.
Well, what I can tell you guys, I don't know if that applies here, but I've camped here before, and I've had a very nice, comfortable sleep.
Oh, yeah? Are we setting up a watch? What to watch? I say we make the Duke's guy just watch all night and we'll just sleep. Done.
That would not be kind to poor Meadows here.
No.
He's been lugging around most of my gear. Man deserves a good night's sleep as much as anyone.
Well, if he's been lugging gear all day, he's probably got enough energy to stay up all night as well.
Do I get a say in this?
We're trying to abuse the NPC.
He's making dinner. Like he's taking the rations or the ingredients, and he's like got a cook fire going. He's making dinner for everybody, or at least for.
Well, we
Duke
should have.
Mowbray.
Well, since there's 4 of us,
Duke Suffolk.
instead of some kind of
Duke Suffolk.
watch at least. So, who wants first watch? I guess.
So are you splitting into 4 watches?
The Duke will stay awake for, whatever it is, 2-3 hours.
Well, you guys have to go. We're gonna sleep from 8 to 6 or whatever, right? So that'd be like 10 hours, or whatever you want to plan, and then divide it up.
Sure.
So a couple.
2-3 hours.
Yeah, just 2-3 hours apiece.
Then Meadows will take over.
So Duke first, Meadows, and then who?
I'll take the next one.
All right, and then Dyer for last.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Mr. Dyer seems like an early riser.
Probably. So
Nothing beats waking up at 5 in the morning and having a couple shots and going out and seeing what nature can provide for you. Quotate or parentheses, hunt.
You are a man of many talents, Mr. Dyer.
All right.
That's yet to be proven, but I appreciate the compliment.
Okay. I am going to roll for Meadows, but why doesn't everybody give me a power roll?
And what roll?
A power roll.
How? Bam, boom, failed.
Oh, snap.
Wow. Nice rolls for those last 2 bros there.
Is critical even better than extreme?
Yes.
I rolled a 1, dude.
I see that.
That's like the nat 20. Just like rolling 100 is, even if you have
That's like 1 in 100 chance.
I mean, you can have a stat that's 120%, but if you roll 100, you still fail. It can be done. Yeah. Anyway. Alrighty. So let's see. Gonna have a handout. Let me find them. Can I rearrange these? Okay. All right, Dustin, I'm going to make available for you a handout. So you're taking the first watch. Everything's fine. Nothing. I mean, everybody else is sleeping. Dog snores, kind of, like he's running, dreaming in his sleep, of course. And, nothing crazy happens.
What do you mean by handout?
Hold on. You should see it available now.
Okay.
So just read that. That's for you only. This is what happens after you go to sleep. And you wake up Meadows, and he's just like groggy. He's just like, oh, it's like a rock. Oh, I got watch now. Wake him up at midnight. Have a good sleep, sir. Does he call you sir, master, Duke?
He would call me Your Grace.
Your Grace? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Have a good night's sleep, Your Grace.
Are you Grace or are you my lord?
He's a Duke. He would be Your Grace.
Okay.
I expect the Duke to know what the Duke should know. So who was okay? So you went to sleep. Meadows is on watch, and I'll say that what happens for you, Duke, will be in the middle of the next watch. But we're gonna get to that. So at some point, Meadows wakes up Thomas. Just kind of
Thomas.
Yep, Thomas, you feel yourself being nudged awake. He's like, it's about 3 a.m. I think. Your turn.
Get up and get something to drink and go sit. I don't know. We have a fire, right? So
Yeah, you're keeping like a low fire, just enough for warmth as you guys sleep around it. Just, but not too crazy to catch fire or anything or distract anybody.
Sit by the fire, petting my dog. Occasionally, I get up and walk the perimeter or something.
Listen to the train go by.
Yeah, that too.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Good.
Thomas, while you're up on watch, you can go ahead and make a listen roll.
Listen.
Hey, listen.
Not a yawn roll, a listen roll.
85. I lost.
You start to think that you hear something, and you stand up to listen closer, and that's when Bernard wakes up. Or, sorry, Duke Suffolk wakes up. Go ahead.
Oh yeah.
So what
Duke wakes up in with a gasp and clutching his chest.
Mm-hmm.
He looks around a bit confused.
You okay, sir?
He takes a look at you. Is like, oh, just a dream. I'm all right. Thank you, Agent. How's everything looking?
Quiet. Thought I heard something, but it must have been you.
Must have been.
Must have been. And the Duke tries to settle back down and fall back to sleep. But sleep doesn't come easy.
Oh, a little tossing and turning. Thomas is yawning quite well by about 3 a.m.
I'm sorry.
You're just getting a character, I know.
Yeah, sorry.
Quit apologizing. All right, you wake up.
Keep apologizing.
You wake up Dyer, or the time comes to wake up Dyer.
I wake him up nicely. I don't just nudge him with my foot or anything.
Give him a
Hey, Dyer.
So Dyer's just laying on the ground with his hat over his face. He's not even covered up. So when he's woken up, he takes the hat off and he's like, "Is it my turn?
Yeah.
On watch now?"
Yeah.
He gets up. Let's just say he pulls out a cigarette and lights it.
Oh yeah.
Is that okay? We didn't specify that last week. But anything weird?
No, I mean, the Duke woke up a bit ago, but said he had a bad dream. But other than that, no.
Okay.
All
Yep. Get some rest. Because once my watch is over, we're all up, and it's back to getting this whole thing figured out, so people will get out of the woods.
I laid down.
People get the hell out of here.
I doze off if I can, but I may not necessarily go back to sleep.
You're gonna stay awake for the last 3 hours?
No, I'm not gonna try to. I mean, I lay down and try to doze off, but because it's
Unless you super fight it, you would go back to sleep within the next 10 to
Okay.
15.
then I will go back to sleep.
Okay. Dyer, go ahead and make a listen check for your shift.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
This week's much better than last week.
Yeah.
Mr. Dyer's on the extreme success track.
I just jinxed it. I'm failing everything else.
Mhm.
I know, right?
Okay, so
What a bird.
Dyer's sitting there. It's probably about 4:30 in the morning. You got about an hour and a half or so until the sun's really coming up, and people are getting up. It's like 6 or so would be about between 5 and 6 when you wake them up. But it's like 4:30 now, and suddenly you just hear a flurry of rifle fire somewhere way, way off in the woods.
Do we all hear that? I'm sorry, did you say everyone
No.
was awake and heard that? Or just Dyer?
Dyer.
Mr.
Dyer.
Mr. Dyer.
It's muff. I mean, you can hear it clearly in respect that, I mean, you're awake. You can hear it, and you can't pinpoint it exactly. With your extreme roll, I will say it is a little further north. That's about as best I can give you, and it's definitely a rifle. It goes off 5-6 times, and then it's quiet again.
Like, I'm sorry, I didn't hear it. Did it wake us up or anything?
No,
or-
just Dyer.
Okay. Huh. Okay.
So the first shot, he instinctively reaches for his revolver, but then he realizes it's off to the north. So, he kind of, how's the light at 6 at this point?
No, it's like 4:30 in the morning. So
Oh, I thought you said it was 6.
no, the shift or so that you guys arranged would kind of be ending between like 5:30 and 6 or so, when you'd probably be waking them up, and the sun would be coming up for real around that time. But you won't start seeing better in the woods until around 7.
So we'll just say, Dyer looks in the direction of where the rifle was at. He kind of keeps his hand on his rifle or on his revolver. He just doesn't take it out, and he just kind of he just kind of studies in that direction. Like, obviously, it's really dark, but what he can see, he's just kind of darting his eyes around to see if there's anything coming this way.
Okay. You feel it's far enough that it would take quite a while for wherever that was, if there was anything there, to run your direction, even if it was like an animal getting shot at or driven away, like a bear or a deer. So
Right.
even after waiting like probably a good 20, 25 minutes, even 30 minutes, nothing comes around your area. Even when you're listening hard, you're like, nope, just the dog snoring and Thomas. All right.
Okay.
And that's pretty much everything else is uneventful until the 5:30 to 6 o'clock phase hits. What do you do?
Dyer will make coffee.
All right. You guys start slowly, unless he wakes you up, you can just start to wake up, smell of coffee, cooking, a little bits of noise, whatever kind of draws you out of your
No, I'll
sleep.
tell you what. 6 o'clock roll, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
6 o'clock rolls around. Once he's done with the coffee, he's like, "Boys, get up. We're gonna waste time if we sleep in anymore."
Everyone's kind of, ugh. So,
Let's let's get awake. Let's get our coffee. I heard some shotgun or heard some rifle shooting. I think it was north. Maybe we should retrace our steps back to where the blood is and then head north from there.
Did it sound like several shots in a quick succession?
I heard
like,
about 5 or 6.
I wonder if that's that Texan we were told to be on the lookout for.
Could
Well,
be. But what direction were we traveling following the blood trail?
So we're gonna follow the marks on the trees west until we're back to the area where we decided to go east. Is that the direction? I can't remember.
Yeah, you go back
Okay.
west about a half mile to where you marked that tree.
I wasn't sure if I got
that
my
kind of mark
directions
or whatever.
messed up.
Like,
Yeah. And then from there, maybe we should see where the blood trail goes, and hopefully it'll go north, and maybe we can connect these dots and get this mystery solved, and that'll be it.
okay. You guys are getting ready, eating your breakfast. I know the Duke can make if he wishes. Let's see. Let me see here.
Can I make a history check to identify that this is the same area as the Battle of Bennington?
If it was in the National Woods and you want to, sure.
I just know the Battle of Bennington was about 12 miles east of Bennington.
Then I think if you'd like to make a roll, you can. If you want to get all like, I know more about your history than you guys do.
Well, let's see if I can do that. Yes.
Wow, that's your history's a 70. Yeah, you can just start spouting off facts at breakfast and just bore everyone into getting ready faster if you want. I mean, go for it.
I will. I'll start talking to people about how one of my ancestors who fought against the rebels. No, I'll say your countrymen. I'll leave it respectful.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Battled in this area back in the in the troubles.
In the trouble.
In the troubles.
And like Mel's is like, He doesn't nod his head with as much affirmation as he usually does. He looks really tired. Duke, you can make a psychology roll if you want. Anybody else can as well, but you'll need at least a hard success. But just a regular success for the Duke, if you wish.
A psychology roll?
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. Yeah, that's not a surprise.
Okay. Yeah,
All of us make a psychology roll?
no one made it, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, but Meadows seems a little tired today. Otherwise, it's a little more subdued. But he does his job, makes breakfast, packs the gear up, gets the camp disassembled, and you guys are ready to track back and find your blood trail. And then go ahead and make tracking roll when you get back to your original spot. For whoever wants to, and you find the original trail again.
Surprise. Fail.
Nailed it.
Oh yeah, spot hidden. Boop. I'm good at that.
You found the blood again. Good job.
Surprise.
Track rolls from anybody else that is going to be tracking. Dyer Thomas.
Okay.
Oh no! Why?
I like the sound of that. The Dyer Thomas.
Dyer Thomas.
Dyer Thomas.
You guys head north, but you lose the trail. All right.
Awesome. Good.
It's not impossible. It's not impossible to find again. Here's something. As you're traveling for a couple hours, you backtrack a little bit. You find bits here. You know you're kind of in the right direction as you head north. If you're looking at the map, you're probably a little more about here at this point. If you're looking at the map on roll 20, and I can transition that. So we started in Bennington here for the audience. This is about where they camped, where someone scribbled here, like a third grader, and now they're probably right about here. Yeah, I said that. I did it. You guys are definitely deeper in the woods. Dyer, you've been all over you've been a lot, like to the in the southern woods and the northern woods. You haven't gone out as far east, like you're getting near your edge point, like the distance that you've traveled as far as this woods goes to the east. You guys can all make intelligence checks if you wish. I will roll for Meadows. Oh, I didn't have Meadows do a tracking earlier. I didn't really have him set up for tracking. I'll have him throw a failed tracking.
One intelligence. Yay.
Oh, we're doing an intelligence check.
Yep. Okay, so Meadows made it. Duke made it.
You self-fulfilled your prophecy, my friend.
Yep.
Now you will fail every single roll.
Are you gonna make an intelligence check there? Oh, you did. Success. Okay, so the Duke and Meadows and Thomas.
Thomas.
Dyer is desperately trying to find the trail again, and you guys just noticed that yesterday there was a lot of squirrels that were and there's like crickets and there's basic wildlife sounds, and you notice today that it's a nice day. It's becoming quite warm as it gets lighter. It's like 10 in the morning at this point, and definitely the sun's up. It's becoming quite a warm day even in the cool forest, and but the wildlife sounds are a lot less, like kind of like Meadows is in his mood. The forest seems moody. It seems more subdued than yesterday as you're a little deeper further in. And at any point you guys want, as you go further, I'll let everybody make a choice. You can roll a spot hidden or a tracking for this next part. I mean, feel free to talk about the nature of the forest if you want.
All right. So the Duke, having spent a lot of time in the woods, granted much different woods than these, would obviously be a little unsettled by the quietness, almost too quiet. So he takes a look around, trying to see if he can spot, really actually looking for wildlife, if there's anything around.
I got you. With your extreme roll?
With my extreme roll.
Okay. So it's not so much whatever else, like you're wondering, right? And you guys are taking a little break. Dyer is just like, oh yeah, finding the trail again. We'll come back to him in a second. So while he's like searching this like 5 foot area, it's like, wait, let me look. Or whatever he would say. I'm not going to be him. You're sitting there kind of like just trying to spot a dang squirrel or a rabbit. And let me tell you, normally with a roll like this, you would be able to see everything, especially with your hunter's prowess with hunting rabbit and possibly fox or whatever game you've been used to, even a bird or two. The only thing you spot, and now you have Meadows next to you. He's like, what do you see? And literally, you saw one sparrow like about a minute ago, and that's it. Like there's nothing. You should at least see a few things with your expertise. What are you seeing? Wait, one.
Are you asking me what I'm seeing?
Yeah, Meadows is asking you because he's your manservant. He's going to step up right next to you, and he's always concerned with how you are, what your well-being is. You see anything, Your Grace?
Yeah.
Meadows, something's wrong here. There's nothing. It's almost like this forest is dead.
He kind of shudders a little bit. He's like, "That's a queer choice of words, but okay, yeah, kind of like that. Very quiet."
I am kind of like, I guess I don't notice that they are talking, but I have noticed the quiet, and I'm unnerved because that usually means there's some kind of predator or maybe even other people around, and so I'm kind of looking around for that kind of thing.
For what kind of thing? I missed it.
Like other people or a predator of some kind, or
okay.
Just that's kind of where my mind goes.
Okay.
Like, is this too quiet? So there must be somebody else out here or something else that's scaring the animals into silence.
Mr. Dyer, these are your woods. Is it like this normally?
It can be. Generally, from what I've found, as I'm sure you are aware, no critters usually means something's afoul, whether it is a predator or whether things are, whether unexplained things have recently happened. I think we all know that animals can kind of sense that. So whatever's happening right now, I would be on our watch.
Meadows, hand me my shotgun.
There's a shotgun
Hey,
it's like right in front of your face, like on the camera. It's like like he's at the ready with it.
Hand me my gun.
And your arm, something. Let me jump back to the rolls for Dyer and Thomas. Thomas, with your spot hidden, you guys are following a definite trail. Like, you don't see blood as often; it's really tapered off. But you found the trail and the way it's moving through the underbrush. But just then, as you're noticing, you look to your left, and you discover actually quite a bunch of blood to the left, like off the trail that you're currently following. And as you look, Dyer's eyes follow yours. And Dyer, what you notice is that the foliage has been disturbed at this point. Broken twigs, branches that imply someone has been running while injured through here. And now this is not the path you've been following. You can still see that path you've been on, the path you've been following since the beginning. This is something different. It deviates back to the west.
Is this blood fresher than the other blood?
Yes. Well, I guess, I don't know if I can answer you that or not.
Gentlemen, we got a conundrum here. We got two trails.
Kurt, you can make, if you have a first aid or even a medicine roll, I would allow either of those, or even an intelligence roll if nothing else. But an intelligence roll will have to be at least a
I
hard.
have first aid. My intelligence is way higher though.
Well, with an intelligence though, I'm gonna call for at least a hard success because it's not based in medicine directly.
Is it just him that does first aid?
No. I mean, if anybody else wants to do first aid medicine, mostly medicine's more appropriate. Well, I guess either way.
Damn.
Do you want medicine or do you want first aid?
I'll allow either. Or
Did you
intelligence.
give Meadows some first aid?
I think so. You can roll for him if you want.
Let's give Meadows some first aid. Oh, you did. Let's give Meadows there.
That was for Meadows.
That was me clicking on Meadows, yes.
Okay. So he's successful. Hard success for Dyer. He's like, it doesn't look that old, but Dyer, you're like, yeah, that's probably maybe a day and a half. So much newer than the trail you've been following.
That's the new trail that I discovered.
Yeah, the new trail you guys just discovered. A day, maybe a day and a half. Not much older. I mean, the blood looks like it's to be like maybe semi-sticky, but definitely coagulated. Getting on the closer side of drying. The other stuff is much darker and dry that you've been following.
So after Dyer informs them of the two trails, Dyer kind of will have him walk off a bit, not completely out of sight.
Mm-hmm.
He bends down and he kind of touches the blood and kind of just examines it, and he's like, "If I were to guess, I would say this happened yesterday. Whatever happened with this trail, it's about a day old."
Day old. When did the shootout happen with the police?
Okay, so today is technically Sunday. The shootout would have happened like Friday. Friday evening. So maybe this is newer than that. You can't. The blood you followed was definitely in a drier state. We'll say it that. So this might be a little newer.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Well, let's check see if we can find some clues of what happened here. Any discarded personal effects, etc.
Okay, there's nothing here, but the trail does tend to wander west-northwest.
southwest, northwest.
Yeah.
So really a totally different direction.
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, what do you think we should do? Follow the recent sign of struggle or continue on the path we were on?
Well, the recent sign of struggle intrigues me, but it might not lead us to what we're looking for, which is to save a little girl. And then again, it might.
Meadows is like, what if it's the little girl that was injured and ran that way?
How old do you estimate?
Don't say such awful things.
I'm just trying to be blunt, Your Grace.
How old do you figure the blood that goes north is?
Maybe a day and a half to 2. So like a good, you're looking at half a day to 3/4 of a day older than this blood.
So, it took us, what? Like, almost a whole day to get
I was
far up.
waiting for this question.
And so whoever this blood trail came to, they never stopped anywhere? The first blood trail? Because it seems like an awful far place to go.
They probably had a head start on us too.
Yeah, they had the whole evening before when the shootout happened.
Still.
So they were already almost a full
I mean, it
12
took
hours.
us-
They were at least 12 hours ahead of you guys. So,
I say we check out the fresh blood trail, at least maybe a few hundred yards, see where that goes. And if we keep going, maybe we should come back to this one and keep following the old one.
I defer to your opinion, Agent Hybrook.
is that your guys' plan? Take a little detour? Dyer?
Dyer takes out his machete and starts marking the trees. And
I ain't getting lost again.
And as we see him marking the trees, that's when we fade out to commercial break, and we'll be back in about, 7-8 minutes. So stay tuned for the next installment.